Telegram desktop won't connect. You're at work, or behind a campus firewall, or in a region that blocks it, and the app just spins on connecting. You don't need to install a VPN that routes your whole machine. Telegram desktop has proxy settings built in, and on a computer you actually get more control than on a phone, including command line options. This is the full setup for Windows, Mac, and Linux, plus the desktop-specific traps. I run managed Telegram hosting and proxy infrastructure on dedicated hardware in Singapore, so the desktop proxy screens are familiar ground. The desktop client is the same on all three platforms with tiny menu differences, and there's a separate Telegram for macOS built on a different codebase that puts things in a slightly different place. I'll cover both, and the command line flags that only exist on desktop. First, why use the in-app proxy instead of a system VPN on a computer? A system VPN tunnels every app and often needs admin rights you don't have on a work machine. Telegram's own proxy only routes Telegram, needs no admin rights, and doesn't touch the rest of your traffic. On a lockdown corporate or campus network, a VPN client is frequently blocked or flat out not installable, while Telegram, already installed, just needs 3 values typed into its own settings. It's lighter, it's quieter, and it keeps working when a full VPN can't. Desktop Telegram supports the same 2 proxy types. mtproto, Telegram's own protocol with built-in obfuscation that disguises traffic as ordinary HTTPS and survives deep packet inspection. And SOCKS5, a generic proxy that tunnels the connection through a middle server, strongest when that server is a real phone on a real mobile carrier, so your exit IP looks like a normal mobile customer. To beat a firewall or country block, reach for mtproto. To put your account on a clean Singapore mobile IP, point SOCKS5 at a mobile proxy. Desktop handles both. Let's find the menu on the main desktop client, the one on Windows and Linux, and the cross-platform Mac build. Open Telegram, click the hamburger menu, 3 lines, top left, open settings. Click Advanced, scroll to connection type. You'll see Use System Proxy Settings, No Proxy, and Use Custom Proxy. Click Connection Type, then Add Proxy. Pick SOCKS5 or mtproto. On the separate native macOS app, the path is Settings, then Advanced. Then there's a connection or proxy section with the same Add Proxy option. The fields are identical, only the layout differs. If you're on a Mac and your menus don't match, you have the native build. Just look under Advanced for the proxy section. For mtproto, you fill 3 fields: server, the IP or host name, port, usually 443, and secret, the long hex string. Paste them with no stray spaces. Tap Save and it connects, showing a green connected indicator and a ping. For SOCKS5, you fill server, port, and username and password if the proxy authenticates, which paid mobile proxies do. Enter all 4, save, and you're routed. A desktop detail worth knowing: the connection type screen keeps a list of every proxy you've added, with a small dot next to each showing connected or unavailable in near real time. You can keep several saved and click between them. On a flaky network, this is the fastest recovery. When the active one goes red, click the next one. There's also a checkbox on that screen. Use proxy for calls, like on the phones. Desktop voice and video calls can expose your real IP to the other party, unless you route calls through the proxy too. Click it if you make calls and want them hidden. Leave it off for messaging only and slightly lower latency. The one-tap link works on desktop too. If you tap or click a t.me/proxy link or a tg://proxy link while desktop Telegram is running, the app catches it and offers to enable the proxy. On Windows and Linux, you may need to copy the link into a chat with yourself and click it from inside the app, because the browser sometimes intercepts the web link first. The tg: version goes straight to the app and is more reliable for this. Here's the link format. An mtproto link reads tg://proxy ? Server equals the host, ampersand, port equals 443, secret equals the hex. A SOCKS5 link reads tg://socks ? Server equals host, ampersand, port equals the port, then optionally &user equals and &pass equals. The web versions start with t.me/proxy and t.me/socks. Same parameters either way. Now the part desktop has that phones don't. Command line flags. You can launch Telegram desktop pointed at the working directory, and with proxy behavior controlled at startup, which is handy for keeping separate proxied instances. The key flag is -workdir, followed by a path, which gives that instance its own isolated data folder. So on Windows, you'd run telegram.ec space -workdir space the path to a folder. Each work tier is a fully separate Telegram, its own login, its own proxy setting. That's how power users run two accounts side by side, each through a different proxy, without them stepping on each other. The proxy itself is still set inside that instance's advanced settings, but the work tier flag is what keeps the instances isolated. To make that practical, you create two desktop shortcuts. The first targets telegram.exe with -work tier, pointing at a folder you name something like account 1. The second points at a folder named account 2. Launch both, and you have two independent Telegram windows, and inside each you open advanced and set a different proxy. On Mac and Linux, the same flag works from the terminal. You call the Telegram binary followed by -work tier and the folder path. This is the legitimate built-in way to keep separate sessions on one desktop. Just be honest with yourself about the fingerprint point I make later. Separate instances on one machine still share that machine's hardware identity. Now the desktop edge cases. First and most common, the corporate firewall blocks port 443 for non-web traffic or blocks everything except the web proxy. If a normal mtproto proxy on 443 won't connect from your office, the network is doing application layer filtering. mtproto's Vectors mode is your best shot because it genuinely looks like HTTPS. If even that's blocked, the network is allowing only its own web proxy, in which case use system proxy settings in Telegram so it inherits the corporate proxy. Then layer your mtproto on top if the policy permits. On the strictest networks, nothing in-app gets through, and you'd need a different approach entirely. Second, system proxy conflict. If you've set use system proxy settings and your machine already has a corporate proxy configured, Telegram tries to use it, and that proxy may not allow Telegram traffic, leaving you stuck on connecting. Switch to use custom proxy with your own mtproto or SOCKS 5 instead of leaning on the system setting. Custom proxy bypasses the machine's proxy entirely. Third, IPv6. Some networks are IPv6 only or prefer it, and a proxy you entered as an IPv4 address won't be reachable. Desktop Telegram has a try connecting through IPv6 toggle in advanced connection. If your proxy is IPv4 and your network is IPv6, this gets complicated, and the cleanest fix is a proxy that's reachable on the address family your network actually provides. Fourth, multiple instances clobbering each other. If you launch Desktop Telegram twice without separate work diars, the second one refuses to start or shares the first one's session. Always use -work dir for a second isolated instance as covered above. Without it, your proxy settings and login bleed across instances. Fifth, the green light but no messages. A connected indicator means Telegram reached the proxy, not that the proxy is relaying to Telegram servers. For mtproto, a wrong format or expired secret causes this. For SOCKS 5, a wrong password or an IP the provider hasn't whitelisted causes it. Recheck the credentials and verify the result in Settings, Active Sessions. The current desktop session should show the proxy's IP, not your office IP. Sixth, the link won't import and instead opens your browser to a Telegram web page. On desktop, browsers grab HTTPS links first. Copy the t.me/proxy link, paste it into the saved messages chat with yourself in the desktop app, and click it from there. The app intercepts its own internal link and offers the enable proxy dialog, or use the tg:// version, which the browser ignores and hands straight to the app. Seventh, slow media on a working proxy. If text flies but file downloads crawl, the proxy is bandwidth limited or overloaded, common with free public endpoints. Desktop downloads big files and channel media, so a weak proxy shows its limits faster here than on a phone. A private endpoint or a paid mobile proxy on a real carrier IP has the headroom for desktop use. The green light being on doesn't promise throughput, only reachability. Iriponio da mia no vinsto min throughput, only reachability. It moves your Telegram connection to a different exit and gets you past the firewall or block, and it can change the IP your account appears on. It does not change your device fingerprint or how the account behaves. For one personal account beating a block, a proxy is the whole answer. If you're running several accounts that each need to look like a separate real person on a separate real device, the connection is one piece of a larger setup, and a proxy alone won't carry the rest. On desktop especially, 10 accounts all on one machine fingerprint as one machine no matter how many proxies you point them through. That larger setup is what we run. Manage Telegram hosting and proxy infrastructure on dedicated hardware in Singapore, real carrier IPs and clean endpoints maintained for you, with each account living on genuinely separate hardware. If that fits your situation better than juggling desktop instances and proxies, start at telegramvault.ong. And use code TGYT for one computer and one account behind a firewall though. The steps here are all you need. One more habit for desktop users behind a corporate network. Before you assume the block is on Telegram specifically, test the same proxy from your phone on cellular data. If the proxy works on your phone but not on the Office desktop, the block is your Office network filtering Telegram or the proxy port, and the fix is the Fectile's mtproto approach above. If it fails on both, the proxy itself is dead and you need a fresh one. That 2-device test tells you in 30 seconds whether you're fighting your network or fighting a dead endpoint, and it saves you from changing settings that were never the problem. A small efficiency tip for people who run Telegram on a work laptop and a home machine both. Proxy settings don't sync across your devices. Each install holds its own proxy list locally, so setting a proxy on your phone does nothing for your desktop and vice versa. You configure each device once. The upside is they're independent. Your lockdown Office desktop can run a Fectile's mtproto proxy, while your home machine runs nothing, and neither affects the other. Just remember there's no central proxy setting. It's per install, so plan to enter it on every device that needs it. To recap, settings, advanced, connection type, add proxy, pick mtproto or SOCKS 5, paste server, port, and the secret or your user and pass, save, wait for the green connected light, use -workdir for separate isolated instances. Switch to custom proxy if a system proxy is fighting you, and verify the exit IP in active sessions. If this helped, subscribe, because the next video weighs self-hosting your own Telegram setup against handing it to managed hosting and where each one actually makes sense. Thanks for watching.